Topic of the day. You have said repeatedly yourself since the election, the president has said for months, no pardon was coming. I wanted to ask you, could those statements now be seen as lies from the American people? Is there really a credibility issue here given now this announcement?
First of all, one of the things that the president always believes is to be truthful to the American people. That is something that he always truly believes. And if you see the end of his, I assume that you've read his statement, and you look at the end of that statement, and he actually says that in the first line in the last paragraph, and respects the thinking and how the American people will actually see this in his decision making. And I would encourage everyone to read in full the president's statement. I think he lays out his thought process. He lays out how he came to this decision. He came to this decision this weekend. So let's be very clear about that. He says it himself. It's in his voice. He said he came to this decision this weekend. And he said he wrestled with this. And because he believes in the justice system, but he also believes that the war politics infected the process and led to a miscarriage of justice. This is his words. I'm just repeating what the president said. He also said that no reasonable person, if you are looking at this in a good faith way, if you are looking at the facts of Hunter's cases and you can't reach any other conclusion, right? And what we have seen, and not just us, there's other people who have commented on the president's actions in the last 24 hours. I've lost track of time, and could see that Hunter was singled out. And because his last name was Biden, because he was the president's son, that's what we saw. And so the president believed enough is enough, and the president took action. And he also believes that they tried to break his son in order to break him. That's what we saw.
Go back to the first question of the briefing. I know you said not a lot's changed since yesterday and that it's a personal matter, but from a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Well,
I just said no. I just answered. Go ahead.
Why doesn't President Biden just pardon him?
President, I've been very clear. The president's not going to pardon
And
his
one
son.
more.
With regard to the question regarding the family, I'm extremely proud of my son Hunter. He has overcome an addiction. He's one of the brightest, most decent men I know, and I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision, and I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
For several weeks, the White House has said multiple times that the president was not going to leave the race. He ultimately did. You've also said several times that the president would not pardon or commute the sentences for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying he would not.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
From the podium that President Biden would not pardon his son. If Vice President Harris is elected, would he tell her also to not pardon?
I mean, that's a hypothetical that look, the president, I could speak for the president, and he said he would not pardon his son, and I'm just going to leave it there.
Changed his mind, and obviously the election, in the statement he refers to enough is enough. He thinks that there could be further, it sounds like he thinks there could be further prosecution of Hunter under a Trump administration.
He didn't believe that they would let up, right? He didn't think that they would continue to go after his son. That's what he believed. And look, I'm not going to get into hypotheticals to the original part of your question. The president wrestled with this decision. He made this decision this weekend. And he decided to move forward with pardoning his son.
And on this, joining us is the Republican strategist John Jordan for his thoughts on this. John, good to see you. So how much do you think this decision affects Joe Biden's legacy?
Well, Joe Biden's legacy is a mess anyway. I mean, he had an economy that collapsed on him. He had to be pushed out of the race by Democrats in favor of someone who got no votes. And then she went on to lose. There's nothing good to remember from the Biden years, which is why the American people made the decision they did. Now, as you may or may not know, hey, I'm an attorney also. And this pardon is remarkable. It's not just that he lied about it. That's what everybody's talking about. But here's what's important, is that the Bidens have received millions of dollars for their various centers and philanthropy. Hunter Biden received millions of dollars as a consultant to a Ukrainian oil business. They got money from Russians all over the world. And these people haven't done anything but be in public service, or in Hunter Biden's case, God only knows what else. But the pardon was remarkable in its scope, any and all crimes going back 10 years. Now, I looked through the history of pardons, and I can't find one that is that comprehensive, both in scope and in time scale. And it makes you wonder what else they're covering up. This just wasn't for these two things that he's being sentenced for now. This is over a decade, unprecedented.
So Biden says his son had been treated differently and was singled out only because he's Joe's son. They're the words that are used by Joe Biden. Would Republicans have pursued him without the pardon?
Wait a second. Republicans aren't the ones that pursued him. It was the Biden Justice Department that charged him. It was not Republicans. It wasn't Republican president or Republican attorney general. It was Merrick Garland, the attorney general, appointed by Joe Biden. And Joe Biden said repeatedly he wasn't going to intervene. This was not Republicans doing this to anybody here. Republicans have been out of office since 2021 in terms of the Justice Department.
I guess the point that he's making, though, is that Trump and the administration would now pursue him without that pardon. That's the point he's making.
No, there's nothing left to pursue. Remember where this case is. He has already pled guilty and been convicted. So it's not a question of the Trump administration pursuing. He has been convicted and is set for sentencing on the gun charge in Delaware and the tax case in LA more than a month before Trump even takes office. So there's nothing for the Trump administration to do, since they don't come into office until January.
So the justice system has quite clearly been weaponized. How long do you think it would take to turn that around? Or will it always kind of be there and used as a political plaything to favor whoever is in power?
Well, the weaponization of this Justice Department in the U.S., which you just conceded is the case, and I agree with you, has been weaponized by the Democrats since January of 2021, when the Biden administration came into office and went after Trump, went after the pro-life groups and groups that they didn't disagree with, which are just political discussions. When Trump was in office, came into office January of 2017 and left in 2021, remember Hillary Clinton had a document scandal of her own was being looked at, and everyone said when Trump was going into office then that Trump was going to weaponize it and put Hillary in jail and it was going to be lock her up. Well, Trump went into office and they left Hillary Clinton alone. And when he was asked about it when he was president the first time, he said, quote, "She has been through enough. This is not what we're here to do. Let's move on." That's what Trump said about his defeated opponent in 2017. So the weaponization is a new thing. And the idea that Trump is going to do something, weaponize the Justice Department now, well, we've had 4 years of Trump and he left Hillary Clinton and the Democrats alone before.
Yeah, I mean, you went through all of the failures and the mishaps of Joe Biden's presidency. But when everything's said and done, and when people, in years to come look back on his 4 years in office, is this Hunter Biden pardon, is this what he's perhaps most remembered for?
Probably not. I mean, I think this is obviously it's important. It's unprecedented. Depends on what But I didn't even get a chance to complete the list of Joe Biden's failures. Not to mention the withdrawal from Afghanistan, the leaving of $80 billion worth of hardcore, real automatic weapons, which are going to show up in the arms bazaars around the world. I didn't get into all of those. If there's a terrorist attack somewhere in the world using some of those munitions, or the Middle East blows up, or Ukraine blows up, that is going to be a bigger part of Joe Biden's legacy than his pardoning of his son.
All right. Good to see you as always, John. Thank you.